What's up everybody, Big Friendly here, bringing you another retro gaming video. And in today's video we're going to be going over the classic Atari 2600 title Yars Revenge. Now I'm going to do this one a little differently. We're going to kind of go through the progression of the game, how it was developed based on the programmer's words himself from his book. But after I finish that part, I found something really cool I want y'all to see. Yet another place you never would have thought Atari games would be sold, they were sold at. So I learned this one myself. So after the beginning and the gameplay, hang around, we got a lot more to watch. Let's go! Now, Yars Revenge would actually be Howard Scott Warshaw's very first game he ever programmed when he first got to Atari. Now, according to his book, his very first day at Atari was January 12th, 1981, a Monday. And for the first couple of days, he's just kind of filling the place out. You know, he does do some studying and, you know, meets all the people there, finds out his workstation, all that. And he even has the opportunity to smoke some grade A weed with Todd Fry. And this is all in the book. But a couple of days after he's been there, his boss, his manager, Dennis Coble, calls him to the office, and for his first assignment, he tells him he wants the arcade game Star Castle ported over to the Atari 2600. So, you know, he says, sure, no problem, I'll get on to it immediately. Now, he had basically three goals, Howard did. His first one, number one, to make a splash. I want my debut to be a real contribution, something that will establish me as a player in the world of video game makers. Number two, to create a sensory experience. I want it to be a distinctive, eye-ear catching extravaganza that cannot be ignored. And the third, to break ground. I don't want to iterate on existing material. I want to create something fresh and innovative. So that's what he's shooting for. That's what he wrote down in his book. So Howard decides to go to the arcade to, you know, try out Star Castle and to watch some of the players that are good at the game play it, just to get an idea of what he's looking at. The first thing he notices is it uses vector graphics. And he can already tell that's going to be, you know, not going to be an easy thing to, you know, do on the Atari. But the biggest thing that turned him off was that he was basically going to be doing a knockoff. His third goal was to do something, you know, new ground. Basically have his own thing, not to do a copycat. So he realized the game, if he did make it, wasn't going to be good. So how did he approach this with management? This is what he did. So basically what he does next is he approaches his manager, Dennis Coble, and he just flat out tells him, Dennis, this game is going to suck if I try to make it the way y'all want me to. So he has some drawings and stuff he had done, and he had some stuff on some graph paper he had drawn out, and he told Dennis, hey, I want to do something that will basically have the same characteristics, be kind of the same game, but it'll be unique. It'll be something totally different, but it will play the same way. And to his surprise, his manager said, go ahead and do it. Sounds great. And the interesting thing was, after he tells this story, he says that if it had been a year later, he doesn't think they would have let him do that. So it just tells you how things changed really fast. Now, after a couple of months of work, Howard had a name for the game in mind. He had the name Time Freeze. Thank God that never happened. But also, at that point, his game was what they call first playable. That's where, even in its most primitive form, you can still kind of play the game for the first time. You know, the programmer plays it, other people must play it, and so on. Now, after playing it for a while, and some others in the office also playing it, he's pretty disappointed. He says the play is cumbersome, it doesn't flow. controls are uncomfortable. He just has to accept the fact that the game at this point is pretty lame. He wants it to be great, and it sucks. Now, another thing that's interesting is, after tuning it up a bit and playing more, it appears a tweak here and there won't do the trick. Something major needs to change, and I have no idea what that is, which is even more disturbing. It's bad enough that it's lame, but what's really sinking my boat is the fact that this is my big idea. If I had stuck to the original assessment, at least it could be the game's fault. But all this is on me because I had to make it so special. A victim of my own avarice. Now, he makes some adjustments with the speed of the character that flows better. But another problem Howard has is he's only got one button, and there's two weapons in the game. You've got the regular gun that you shoot the shield with, but you got the main cannon that you use to destroy the enemy in the game. And that is when he came up with the idea of actually touching the shield or the enemy character itself to set up the main cannon to destroy the enemy character. Pretty cool. Now that he has the game ready, he has to come up with a name. And he doesn't want to leave it up to the marketing people. He wants to come up with his own name. So he actually asked a marketing rep if he can put his own name submission in, and the rep says yes, but I need it real soon. And Howard says, okay, I'll come back tomorrow with a name. So he basically spends the whole rest of that day and the night in his office trying to come up with the best name he can. To me, this is one of those things in video gaming history that's just really, really cool. He said he wanted something simple but sharp, compelling and intriguing without being off-putting. It should connote action in a way that's inviting to a player. And then it occurred to him that the word revenge is a great title because it can tell a whole story by itself. And that is true. You know, when you think about it, the movie Return of the Jedi was initially going to be called Revenge of the Jedi, but they changed it. But that is very true what he said. And another thing he said that was really neat in the book, he says he's always wanted to add a word to the English language. It's been one of my many dreams, and this is my golden opportunity. Everybody knows what Pac-Man is. If my game is a huge hit, the character name I choose right now could become common. Have you ever tried to make up a word? I start reeling off possibilities, but everything sounds stupid. This is my big chance, and nothing is working. I'm frustrated. Then he suddenly decides to come up with a cipher. Totally brilliant. You know, basically something that's kind of in code. That's whenever he comes up with the name of the CEO of Atari, Ray Kazar. Yes, the title of the game could be Yars Revenge, with Yar being Ray spelled backwards. And then he thinks, what's Kazar spelled backwards? Rasak, R-A-S-S-A-K. Okay, the game will be set in the Razak solar system. So he basically comes up with an entire story, you know, for this whole thing, and that's of course that's how it came up with the comic and everything like it did. And he actually wrote 12 pages out and everything. The Yarian Revenge of Razak 4. That sounds like something off Star Trek. But he finally finishes up that morning, and he hands the proposal off to the marketing people. Everything that he asked for was approved, the name, the backstory, everything. And the game would then go through a very rigorous play testing process, and it tested better than any Atari game had done up to that point. And it would go on to sell over 1 million copies. It just says 1 million. But I don't know. I feel like it probably did more than that. What do y'all think? I think it sold more than 1 million. I could see it selling at least 2 or 3. It was just a game that everybody had and everybody liked. I never heard really anybody say they hated Yars Revenge. I hope y'all enjoyed that. I mean, I kind of just went by the seat of my pants and I did, I own the book. And if you haven't read it, if you like video gaming history, it's worth looking into. I'll put a link in the description if you want to buy one. I did get me an Yars Revenge game off of eBay. It wasn't that much. The box is kind of beat up on top, but the cartridge and the instructions and the comic are in great condition, so I'm more than happy with it. There's one thing that I found that was really great, y'all. It's so cool because whenever you're doing this, this stuff, you're doing research, you learn things all the time. But anyway, I couldn't show this on the camera where you can read it, the little sticker, but there's two of them. There's one there and there's another one on the side. They both have the same price of $24.99. Now I'm going to put those on the screen so you can see them, because it just shows you again how crazy it was and where you could buy Atari stuff back when everybody was trying to sell it. Okay, now if you look at the one on the left, it just says $24.99. Now the one on the right is the one I want y'all to really look at. It's the one on the side of the box. It's $24.99. It has True Value hardware stores. Now when I saw this, I was like, man, you gotta be kidding. I can remember like the drug stores like Eckerd's, and I remember after the crash, they were like trying to give away Atari games for like $2 a piece, but when I saw this, because I remember back in the early 80s, or maybe even well into the 80s, Pat Summerall used to do the commercials for True Value hardware stores. They would usually show them during sports a lot of times, like during football games and stuff. But Pat Summerall, he was the fella, I'm sure, if most of y'all probably know who he is, but if you don't, he was the guy that worked with John Madden. They called the games together for CBS for like the NFL games for like 20 years. But True Value. So I'll start thinking, well, what if it would be so cool if I could find an old commercial on YouTube for True Value where they actually advertise some Atari games. Well, I searched and I struck out, but it wasn't a total washout, because I did find something else I want to show y'all. Okay, I found 3 examples to show y'all. Now, I'll be honest with you, when I saw these, like it says Cook's Pharmacy, True Value, variety stores, only True Values I ever saw when I was a kid was just a little standalone hardware store. I didn't know they had pharmacies and attached to them and all that, so it kind of makes it different. But nevertheless, when you go down, Atari is number 1. There's your prices right there. And let's see here, Dale's True Value hardware, Atari game, the 2600 for $69.95 after a $30 rebate. And finally, it's just a smaller one, but True Value hardware stores, Atari game cartridges, drastically reduced. They don't tell you how much it is, but they also advertise the supercharger and cassette game tapes for your Atari by StarPath. Christoph's Hardware and Appliances. All of those were from different papers from 1983. I just thought I'd show you that. I thought it was pretty cool. Wish I could have found a commercial though with Summerall talking about Atari. That would have been awesome.
Jeannie, hold on. Mom and Dad said I could play Yars Revenge. Who's getting even with who? You'll see.
Yars Revenge is a video game cartridge you have to buy separately to play on the Atari video computer system. Your parents hook it up to the TV.
Now you're supposed to be Yars fighting the bad Kotak. You got him, Jeannie. Can I stay up late? Good night, Steven.
This is the Atari video computer system. Yars Revenge and other video game cartridges are each sold separately.
I don't know who that kid in that commercial was, but he kind of reminded me of Wormser from Revenge of the Nerds a little bit. This simple little bitty old brick house built way back in the 50s was the first place that I played Yars Revenge. I remember it. One of my best friends, been friends since we were little kids, still friends to this day. His name's David. He grew up in this house, and he had Yars Revenge, and that was the first place I played it. In fact, this house is hallowed ground as far as many of my gaming memories are concerned. We played lots of Atari. I remember playing lots of M-Network Super Challenge football. And then later on, we played Baseball Stars for the Nintendo here. That's probably still my favorite baseball game of all time. And then I got a Genesis when it came out, and we played the first few Madden football games. We played them at this location also. We played periodically at each other's houses and stuff, when we were growing up. But many of these guys I've been friends with since high school, and we stay in touch. 2 weeks ago, 2 weekends ago, when Mother's Day rolled around, my birthday was right on the 9th, and I went back over there to see my folks, and two of my buddies took me out. We all went out to dinner on my birthday. Had a good time, but I know some of y'all will think I'm crazy. Here's some pictures of us when we were in high school. I know some of y'all will think I'm crazy, but I don't think I would trade the memories and the existing friendships for $1 million. I know some of you are thinking, man, you're crazier than a rat in a tin crap house, but no, I wouldn't. It's just something. I just hope many of you over the course of your lives have been able to build some friendships that, and have some friendships that I've been able to have myself over the years. Hey, if y'all made it to the end, I appreciate it. Tell me, did you have Yars Revenge years ago, or did you have a friend that you played it at their house? What did you think of the game? Did you like it? Let me know in the comments. And hey, thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, hit the like button, please. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and sharing the video. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.